everyone, and welcome to the Heal with Kat show. My name is Kat. I am your host. I'm a family constellation therapy facilitator, intuitive medium, and fellow cycle breaker here to guide you on the journey of awakening, evolution. This Heal with Kat show, this is the very first week of December. We are officially transitioning into the Heal with Kat show for good, meaning that the podcast, the interviews, and the solos that I've done for the last 3 years are all available for you to listen to on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. They're all available in the archives in my library of the Heal with Kat community. But this idea of the Heal with Kat show was birthed after a very intense EMDR and mushroom experience. It was birthed in an opportunity to meet you fully and deeper and more consistently. I am so aware of the world we live in right now where paying $300 for a 2-hour family constellation therapy session isn't always accessible for people. And that was a really big feedback that I was getting from my community. More free stuff. Now I've got a ton of free stuff. I've got the cycle breaker quiz. I've got the meditations on Insight Timer. I even have a $35, which is not free, but $35 age mapping exercise where you can lean more into the patterns of your ancestral lineage and how to figure out where you're entangled in it. I have so much free stuff, but I could hear that you wanted more free interactive things. You know, you wanted me to be present for you more consistently in this way. So here we are. The Heal with Kat show was birthed. And that means that every single week we record every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. And that's going to be changing to Pacific time soon. Life updates coming in the future. But every week you can submit your question at catdow.com/ask, ASK. We'll put it in the show notes below. You can hop on anytime and submit a question. You can stay anonymous. You can come on live with me. We have our first live caller today, which I'm so excited about. You can come on live with me. We'll chat for 20 to 25 minutes. And hopefully you'll feel, but I want to set the precedent that the Heal with Kat show, when you show up, no matter how you submit a question, it's a judgment-free zone for you to ask the looming questions that have been weighing on you. This is a safe space for you to bring them forward. And as always, I'll always give my own perspective from both the trauma-informed psychological lens and the spiritually intuitive lens. That is my perspective. And as always, this is not about you giving me your full power and putting me on some kind of pedestal for my perspective. It's just a perspective. My whole intention of doing this is just to show up more consistently and be of service to you. So that's really all that we're doing here. It's a really exciting time. I'm so excited to meet more of you. We've done 3 shows so far, one in September, one in October, one in November. And now we've got so many submissions and so much momentum. We get to do this full time. So again, please do not feel intimidated to ask any question you want. Even if I know you personally, make up some random email or I don't know, put anonymous. I just want to be able to help where I'm needed. So with that being said, you can always go to catdow.com/ask, ASK. And yeah, we'll just see where this journey takes us because it's taken us, I mean, the one that I did in, was it October? People, Politics, and Power. That one, we got 75,000 views on that video. 75,000 views. Obviously, people want to be having conversations about what's going on in the political atmosphere right now with the lens or the perspective that potentially I have. And let me tell you, not everything was positive. I woke up to a comment on YouTube today that was like, you're trying to unite 350 million people by fear mongering, which clearly the video was not fully watched because I'm literally talking about accepting each other and our differences. So there's that. But anyways, so like we're just leaning into spirit's little downloads. We're following the journey of wherever it takes us. And again, this is all to be of service to you. So with that, let's get into our very first live caller on the show. Help me welcome Sydney. Sydney, welcome to the Heal with Kat show. I'm so excited to have you on as my first live caller. Welcome.
Hi, thanks.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm pretty good. was daylight savings this weekend, so I'm trying to get my toddler to adjust. We've been up really early.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a feat in and of itself, but you are a mother and a business owner. And I'm really excited to dive into your question. And if you could just let me know, let the audience know what your question is, we can kind of go from there.
Yeah, I will try to keep it shorter probably than what I wrote. Long story short, I've been in branding and marketing for forever. It's what I studied in school and worked in the corporate world and then started my own business 6 years ago to help other entrepreneurs, mainly female entrepreneurs running small and mid-sized businesses, help them with their branding. And I've always loved writing, so I've done mostly a lot of copywriting work. And I've gotten to the point where I wanted to launch some sort of offering that could be purchased on its own that would come with a call or with a like a one-on-one with me at the end. I've never done something like that before, but obviously other people have done it, and so I did put something together, and it's a lower price point package for people to sort of DIY their own messaging and work with me. um, so one question is kind of like, does that feel right? Is that the right thing to put out there? I mean, at the end of the day, I'm kind of excited about it because it helped me clean up my own process. So it wasn't for nothing, but it's always the question of like, what do people want? But I guess the bigger question around this and my work is so much is changing in the world of marketing, especially with chat GPT and AI. And I recognize that and use some of those tools in my own business, but it's having me think more of like what I want to keep doing in my work, and almost this question of like, should I be doing something different? Should I be leaning into something else a bit more than what I've kind of been doing? I had my daughter 2 years ago, so I've stepped back a bit from working. So there is that weird feeling of like it's not the same as it has been just because I'm working more part-time, but I also feel like I don't know, something more than that is shifting, and I'm just really curious about that. I guess the big question is like, what's next? What should I be doing?
It's so interesting, Sydney. When I hear you speak, there's kind of a few questions that Spirit brings forward. So I'm just going to kind of go through them in a list and we can kind of just chat and see how it flows. First of all, was something going on with the logistics of putting together this package, or was there a logistical question mark about how these things were going to come about? Was there any logistical issues?
I mean, none other than I had never done it before. So I was sort of like learning as I was going,
Okay.
which I've done in the past, like just kind of figured it out as I've gone, as far as like putting it together on a platform like Etsy, for example. So it was kind of figuring that out and having to like redo a few things in the learning process, but that's about it.
So what I heard was something isn't connecting. So I guess that makes sense because what I think that's they're really highlighting what your biggest question is, which is something about how to bring your purpose forward in the logistical sense isn't connecting. Would that feel true for you?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Maybe say more, but
So it's interesting because there's two questions that come forward. And the first one is, are you creating with your heart? And the
mhm.
second thing is, what do you believe is your magic? Because as business owners, as somebody who's also a solopreneur, we tend to get stuck in the logistical part of how are we going to not only create the thing, but how are we going to bring it to life? And that's a lot to juggle in like one person. Some companies have one person for each of those roles. And so it's almost like spirit is coming into the fold as just like the most loving, it feels like a maternal energy of like, are you creating with your heart or are you too focused on the logistics? Because when you ask what's next, I don't see anything. I see you exactly where you are, which is spirit's way of showing me you already are where you're meant to be in regards to what comes next. Meaning, there's something sacred about the creation process that you're in right now, where the brain is trying too hard and the heart is not trying enough. Does that feel resonant for you?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I feel good about what I'm creating. I essentially put together my own process that I do one on one with clients a lot. And I've never offered it. And I haven't really told anyone that I've put it out there because I'm kind of like, oh, I don't, it's sort of like it's my own process. Like that's my secret sauce, but I'm offering a version of how to do that or instructions for people. But yeah, the logistics are interesting. I'm kind of like, how, I guess, yeah, my question is like, how do I put it out there for people? And maybe that's why I keep thinking like, is it something that's even what people want, you know?
Mhm. Well, what do you believe your magic is? Because they're showing me that how you bring this into the world and how you find measurable success with it, which is what I'm hearing you kind of ask for in a roundabout way, is like, how do I know this is going to be successful? Or how do I know that this experience, this thing that I'm creating is going to meet people in the way that I need it to? They're
Mhm.
showing me that when you lean into what you believe your magic is, your superpower, that's almost the medium of how to do it. So, what is that for you when I say that?
Um, I think when it comes to my work, well, I kind of want to answer it in two ways, but it's about helping people bring their vision to life. Like, I think I'm really good at hearing someone just talk and they feel like they're spinning in circles about describing a business they're creating, or maybe they already have a business, but it's a thing, a place that they want to take it or how they want to elevate it. I'm able to like really understand that circular thought power and pattern and maybe that jumble of words for them and make it clear. And I often do that through, helping them clarify and refine their messaging. But I've also done it in, you know, actually helping them build brands too, if it involves like a graphic designer and building a website or experiential element. But I would say the past 6 years, a lot of it has been more on the messaging side. Yeah, if that helps give you some context.
So, what I'm hearing you say is that your superpower is creating strategy from just a vision.
Yeah, pretty
Okay.
much.
How good are you at networking right now? Do you have space in your life for meeting people online? It feels actually that you do a lot of this in person. And do you work a lot with other small businesses?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I think that's another superpower that you have is the small business aspect. I think that something about the small businesses is going to be really profitable for you. It's
Mhm.
like you have garnered the experience to know how to bring a strategy to a vision and then how to bring that forward into life. Other small business owners may not have that yet. They may be a little bit behind in the journey of experience. And so I see you going out into your community. I see something with food. I see
Okay.
something with food and it's like green and there's like a woman who's maybe in her 50s and she's trying to figure out how to either scale the business or market or brand the business. Like there's an opportunity that comes your way at a very random time and it might almost be a little inconvenient, but it's good. Because what's beautiful about your work, Sydney, is that this work grounds you. You can feel it when you speak about it. You feel so grounded in it, but spiritual, like energetically, spirit's showing me that when things are kind of unknown in your life, your work is what grounds you into your body. Do you feel that that's true?
Totally.
It's another superpower you have, and that is how you're going to garner success with others. It's not always about the thing. The best thing that I've learned as a business owner is that people follow people, not just brands. People
Mhm.
want you. They want Sydney. They want your grounding energy. They want your ability to create a strategy from just a vision. They want to be able to work with you because you can hear them and you can intuitively sense what they want to bring to life and you can help them get there. Like that is, geez, I mean, that is what I look for in every business coach or marketing coach I've ever worked with until I finally found mine, Krista, from Authentic Audience. She just knew how to help me bring that to life when I didn't have that. So I would say that what's next is get out in your community, start doing a little bit of networking, lean into industries that you may not have even leaned into before. And again, food keeps coming up. I don't know. I don't know why, but it's like you just the health and wellness or the food industry.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. That's something I'm passionate about and industries I've done a lot of work in the past. I don't need to cut you off, but I'm sort of laughing about the networking thing because it's something I am good at, and I haven't done a ton of as much as I have in the past, just having a baby. But there's been two bigger events locally that are networking events that I've really wanted to get go to. One is actually this week, and one is in a month. And for logistic reasons, I am not able to go. One was sold out, one conflicts with another date, and I'm so bummed. I'm having this feeling of like, why is the universe like not letting me network with people? So it's so interesting that you said that because I do want to.
Well, I think if I can share my own personal opinion about working with you, it's because your magic is in the one and one.
Mm,
Your
okay.
magic is being able to pop into a bakery and say, is the owner here today? My name is Sydney, and I just wanted to ask some questions. You know, however you want to mold it to make it feel like you. But I feel like your magic, your superpower in this, in your career, and even as a mother and a wife, is the one-on-one. It's the moments where you get to shake their hand, they get to feel your energy, they get to feel your warmth and your grounding. And even if they're not interested in that moment, do you live in a small community of people like that
Uh-huh.
all kind of all know each other?
Uh-huh.
I feel like word of mouth, and you'll work with someone who will go to a community event and be like, "Oh my God, I worked with Sydney and it was incredible. She helped me scale my business. My ROI is blah 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 blah, you know." And people will be like, "Oh yeah, I actually met her at the bakery and this and that." I just feel like there's something about just because other people are doing it a certain way that you admire doesn't always mean that you're going to do it that same way. Your magic is just a little bit different.
Yeah, that really resonates. It feels kind of like, even though I've been doing this for years, it feels a little bit like starting over, starting new a little bit in a way.
Mhm.
Even the way you're talking about connecting with people one on one is how I think how I started it in, years ago, and, just do it here and there. But making an effort to do so is not foreign to me, but it kind of is bringing to mind this feeling of like starting anew, in a way, or
Very much. Yeah,
reconnecting.
I think collectively, a lot of us business owners who lean on the intuitive or the energy or the spiritual, when we incorporate that into our businesses, sometimes we we move with the times. We're all evolving with the times, and I think that sometimes that can be a little bit jarring because we may crave consistency, but actually the times that we're in right now are evolving so quickly that we have to evolve with it so that we can be of service in the way that we want to. Also, ChatGPT is a phenomenal tool for business
Mhm.
owners. I mean, it's like I didn't need a lot of different roles that I thought I needed in my business because ChatGPT can help me with a lot of it, you know, planning things
Mhm.
and logistics and all that. But there's going to be a moment in time in the near future, I feel like in the next 2 years, where as AI starts to grow in valuation and popularity, as companies start to embed AI into their businesses, there's going to be this interesting paradox where people are going to be craving certain groups of people rather will be craving the humanness. We have to keep that in balance. And in a small town, people are not always going to take to the AI right away because usually small towns rely on the community and the community is made of people. So that's why it's going to take time for you to see this vision fully fledged out and really see it in its like apex moment. But when that time comes, you're going to understand why you were such an important puzzle piece in this change and this evolution that you're going through. And I just wanted to mention that because even for the listener, because we may start to rely heavily on ChatGPT for so many things, but there will be nothing like shaking somebody's hand and looking them in the eye and knowing that you align with someone energetically. You know, alignment is when two things, two needs meet each other and they come into this symbiosis with each other. Like two needs are being met between two things or two people. That's you. You're going to come into alignment with people. You're going to have a need to be of service and to run a business and to make money and to provide. And they're going to have a need to make money and market their business and be present in the community. And it's just going to be like one after the other is going to come in. But don't discredit the values of a small community and what that means and how you play a role in that.
Yeah, fair enough. Um, and I totally believe that. And I think that was probably an undertone of my question of
Yeah.
I see things unfolding and changing, and I'm aware of it. I'm seeing it in my own work and with my clients. And so it's kind of, I think the initial one part of my question is like, yeah, where's my piece in it? So as things change and knowing that I'm going to need to adjust and realign too. So that definitely feels resonant.
Yeah, I'm so glad because you just in working with you briefly and feeling your energy and hearing your vision and how you want to bring it to life. Yes, the Etsy stuff is dipping a toe into the digital world, but I think what I'm really feeling into today for you is that, and I just got chills as I feel like the message is the woman that you are becoming is the magic that your community needs, but she hasn't fully come to life yet. There's still things that are, as we all do. We're all healing certain things and evolving in certain ways, and she's coming to life. And I feel like the springtime is going to be symbolically and also in the physical reality that we live in, like very things are going to start moving quick. And so take this time during winter when things, even the season and our energy is kind of in this hibernation. Take until the end of winter to write out every idea that you have. Write a business plan, even if you don't send it to anybody. Write out these packages. I see you creating 3 different packages. Um, all in different price points. I see an entry level price point or even maybe a free offering that gets people on an email newsletter. And then I see like a $35 offering and then like $100 and something offering. And, take this time during winter to like create those things and bring them to life again, even if they just sit on your computer. Then springtime is going to roll around and these people are going to start coming into your sphere and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, thank God that I have these things available because this is how I can bring someone into my community in an authentic way of my creations coming to life. But I feel like spirit's showing me like slow down a little bit during winter. It's not energetically time yet. So I just wanted to
Okay.
bring that up too.
I like that.
Yeah. Do you live somewhere where the seasons are very present, or are you in like San
Yeah.
Diego or LA where it's like
No,
the same? Okay.
I'm in Montana and it
Okay.
is
Okay,
it
great.
is full winter in the winter.
Exactly. Oh, also, Spirit has brought this up 3 different times and I've poo-pooed it because I'm like, I'm in the middle of 20 other thoughts you're giving me. They're suggesting have fun, wardrobe change, dress up. Don't forget to lean into the fun of being a female business owner, the fun of putting a little makeup on, doing your hair, going out, getting dressed. Like, even if it's just, again, I don't know why they keep bringing this to my head even if it's just to the local bakery. Like, have fun with it. Lean into your feminism, lean into the feminine creativity and the power of a woman. I feel like that is also that's also a part of your energy that people are really needing and going to love as well. So don't forget to have fun. And apparently, Spirit says wardrobe change. So whatever that means.
Yeah, actually get dressed. Yeah. I like that. And I do love our little local bakery, so I will.
Apparently there's something there for you, but yeah, I'm so excited for you. I'm really curious to see how everything unfolds for you, especially in the spring. It feels like it just takes off.
Cool. Yeah, thank you. I really
Yeah.
appreciate this. It's helpful. It feels good at least to hear these messages.
Good. Is there anything else that you want to ask before we hop off?
I mean, I could ask you 1,000 more questions, but unless there's anything else from spirit jumping out to end with, I'll leave it at that.
Well, let me ask. Okay. I'm getting a little emotional. This is the last thing. They're smiling in like contentment, which is such a sweet vision to see for you. And I'm asking them to send that feeling to you as well. They're reminding you that you're an amazing mother, you're a good
Mm.
mother, and please don't forget that. So if you're having any feelings of inadequacy or, making mistakes as we do as humans, like perfectionism doesn't exist. There's just this overwhelming message of like, you're a good mother. Please do not forget that. Please do not doubt that. Please do not second guess yourself, like any of that. You're a wonderful mother, and there's so much joy in the way that you are balancing your life right now.
I love that. Yeah, I need to hear that sometime. So thank you.
Yeah, they must have thought that because it was blaring through like on a speaker in my brain.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Also, do you have a grandmother that you usually work with, like a maternal grandmother? Maternal?
As far as, well, I mean, but none of my grandmothers are alive, but I think of them or I like call on them, in my thoughts and prayers and different moments. Yeah, energetically.
I think when it comes to motherhood, your maternal grandmother is very near to you spiritually, her energy, very, because I could feel her almost also saying that message. It was like a group of people, but your grandmother came forward and made herself very present. When you're struggling with motherhood, when you're struggling with um she shows me you taking a deep breath and having to find your center again. I don't know if she had a lot of kids or if just being a mother was stressful for her at times. She's just extending an olive branch saying, I've been there before. I get it. I can help. Call on me when you need some help, when motherhood is challenging. I feel like I want to take a huge, deep breath. And I feel like she's coming through and saying, yeah, when you need to take a deep breath, or if you're having a hard time, take a deep breath and call on me, and I will be there for you, which is so sweet.
I have never thought of that, but I will totally remember that. She had a lot of kids, very close in age. So I've thought of her before of like, wow, what a woman to have dealt with all of them.
That would make sense because I started to see like a litter of children everywhere, and I was like, wow, that
Uh-huh.
seems like you have a lot of kids. Yeah, she can help. She's been through it. That's the beauty of working with our ancestors is when we go through hard times, if they're in a place of wanting to show up for us and they've learned certain lessons in life and then also on the other side, and they can be of service. Like she's extending her hand, and not an olive branch. She's extending her hand and basically saying, like, let me help you. And it also says 1111 on my computer. So there you go.
Mm, I love it. Thank you
Mm.
so much. This
Thank
was
you,
fun.
Sydney. Oh, I'm so glad you called in. Thank you for being my first official live caller. Come back at any time that you want. Happy to support you in any way that you need. And I hope you have a beautiful rest of your week.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys, that was our first official live call. I'm like beaming. I'm so excited. Had to obviously make some notes whenever spirit comes through. We have to bring out the notebook because sometimes spirit just starts chatting away while people are talking to me and I'm trying to manage all the things. But Sydney, thank you so much for calling in. Guys, this is the beauty of the Heal with Cat show. You can do that any week that you want. Just submit a question, mark that you want to call in live, and you get what do we have? 20-25 minutes together where we could chat. And, as you can see, this isn't just addressing the question that she submitted. Grandma came through and grandma wanted to say hi, and all of you got to see that and hear that, which is really special. So please don't hesitate to call in live. I know some of you just want to submit, there's nerves, there's all of that. I hope you felt in the live call that this is a judgment-free, shame-free zone, and we're all figuring out what the fuck life is. We're all trying to figure out what we're supposed to do in this life. We're all navigating evolution. We're all navigating healing. We're all navigating um, our own personal journeys. And this is exactly why I wanted to start the show, was to be able to show up for you guys outside of a paid session and help you. So I'm just like loving that we got to do that. Hey everyone, it's Kat popping in during today's show to tell you about one of my favorite tools that I created just for you. If you have ever felt stuck in family patterns or you've always felt like the black sheep of your family, my free cycle breaker quiz will help you turn that role into a superpower. In just a few minutes, you'll discover the archetype you've been carrying, gain clarity on the hidden strengths it's given you, and even understand how to break free from the patterns that are holding you back in this role. You'll also get a personalized mini podcast episode with a ton of insights and tools. So take the quiz today at catdow.com/cyclebreaker and start your shift from black sheep to cyclebreaker today. Link is also in the show notes below. All right, let's get back to the show. So before we get into our second and last question on the show today, I have a little bit of an announcement. If you're on the email newsletter, the official announcement is coming in a couple of days. But I figured that this being the first official Heal with Kat show and on, like I had an opportunity to say it. I'm super nervous, but I'm just going to say it. I have a wait list opening as of now, December 2nd, for the pre-order of my book From Black Sheep to Cycle Breaker, which is the working title. I actually can't believe I wrote a book. I actually can't believe that this is something that is coming into physical manifestation. I don't even know how I wrote a book. I'm like, what the hell did I just do? Like, this is so crazy. This book has been a year in the making, at the least. I feel like Spirit told me I was going to write a book maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And it's an accumulation of my own life stories, approved client stories that I can share, my teachings with family constellation therapy, channelings from spirit. I talk about the loneliness epidemic, but really the purpose of this book is to help everyone who feels like a black sheep transform that role into cycle breaker. Why? I think black sheep has a negative connotation, and I don't like that. I felt like a black sheep for most of my life. I felt like such a different alien compared to my family. Turns out that that was actually a misunderstood role. And that once I started to embrace being a cycle breaker, I started to experience more magic in my life, more love, more of my true self. And that wasn't about being in total opposition with my family. It was actually the opposite. And my goal with family constellation therapy, with the show, with everything that I do is to help you see that you are always capable of standing in the role of cycle breaker if you choose. You have to choose to move from black sheep to cycle breaker. And I wrote the guidebook on how to do it. So if that sounds interesting to you, if you've always felt like the black sheep in your family, all you have to do is go to the show notes below, click on the link to get on the wait list for the pre-order of the book. You don't have to sign up today. This is just a wait list. The actual pre-order for my book opens up in January. When you do that, you will get a free chapter of my book. I don't know which one yet. I'm working on it. I'm currently in the midst of writing the book proposal, and I am working on securing a book editor, and the book just keeps flowing out of me as if I'm never going to be done writing it. But yeah, this is a really exciting time. And I just really pray that this book is going to get into the hands of people who feel that they are the negative black sheep or different from their family. Because my hope is that I'm going to inspire you into something more magical. And I walked the path and I can show you how to do it. So I'll stop there. But if that's interesting to you, get on the wait list. Okay. There's going to be more to come with that. Yeah, still have to decide which chapter I'm going to share with you. Maybe chapter 3. Maybe chapter 3. Okay, that's nice. Thank you, Spirit. All right, with that, let's get into our second question for the show. All right, this question comes from Anonymous, and they say, this feels really weird or uncomfortable to ask, mostly because it seems so backwards. But I feel like my mom is jealous of me or my life. I can't really describe it other than a gut feeling. It feels like she isn't really happy for me, and when she tries to be, it feels forced. I know she's trying, and I don't want to call it fakeness, but it feels that way. How do I know if I can trust myself? Okay. First off, I just want to say, Anonymous, you are not crazy or dramatic for wondering this. This this is really valid. That gut feeling that something's off between you and your mom, it's something that I've heard from clients before. It's something I've experienced, and it's actually something I hear a lot from people who grew up with emotionally immature parents or people who had narcissistic parents. I'm going to get into that a little bit, but it can feel very confusing when the very person who's supposed to be proud of you actually starts acting distant or competitive or a little strange when good things happen in your life. And it sounds like it's not a tangible example that you can give me. It sounds like it's something that you're feeling inside of you. So let's explore what might be happening here. From the pathological lens or the label lens, we could call this parental envy. Like I said, it's more common than people think. When our parents have unresolved trauma or unmet emotional needs from their own childhood or with their own parents, your growth and your success will actually stir up their own feelings of inadequacy or loss. Um, these become ancestral patterns of inadequacy or loss or insecurity. So it's not about you doing something wrong, Anonymous. It's about your success mirroring back what your parents may not have gotten to experience or heal in themselves. So instead of celebrating you, they're unconsciously feeling threatened. And this is when emotional immaturity enters the chat. And that can feel really backwards, right? Because you want to share your joy with your family. You know, all of us have this idea in our minds about what a family should look like or what a family should feel like. And a lot of the struggle that we go through with our families is grieving the expectations that we have that aren't getting met. Expectations, fantasy, we kind of lean into a dangerous zone there. But when we don't experience that, it can bring up a lot. It can bring up grief. It can bring up anger. It can bring up wanting space from them, to protect ourselves. It's challenging. And so something inside of you can sense that something is off, and that's the intelligence of your body. And this is why you hear so many people in the trauma healing space, me included, who say, do the EMDR, do the internal family systems, do the somatic experiencing, where you can bring your brain and your body into healthy relationship again. Because what trauma does is it takes us out of our body and into our minds. These healing modalities really do open the door for you to explore the genius that lives in your body. So when you sense that your mom isn't being authentic with you or genuine when you share your wins, it's not just a weird feeling in your gut, it's the truth. It's your truth, rather. How about that? It's your truth. It could be true that your mom is happy for you. Maybe she doesn't know how to express herself. Maybe she feels uncomfortable. It's interesting, right? Because the relationship that we have with our mothers is very, very sensitive and sacred. Our mothers potentially carry us in the womb for 9 months, but the role of the mother is to create a sense of constant security, safety, and that's in attachment, through our emotional experience, but also physically, warmth and love. The role of a mother is to say, you are lovable even in your imperfections, even in your mistakes. And I'm going to be your biggest cheerleader. I'm going to see you fully to help you feel confident because children feel confident when they're seen. When they're being seen makes them feel validated and important, and that builds confidence, right? So when we don't have that, we start to second guess ourselves. And then if you want to take that a step further, this, depending on how long this has been happening with your mom, if we feel that something is getting in the way of that love and approval and validation and connection with our moms, we will start to sacrifice ourselves in order to get it. So if that love isn't coming from celebration, maybe that love comes from minimizing our wins or walking on eggshells or feeling guilty for being happy because we don't want to make our moms feel bad. I've experienced this. I think many women experience this. You mentioned that when your mom tries to be happy for you, it feels fake. And I just kind of want to pause there because the word fake carries a lot of charge. It really sucks. Nobody likes to be around fake people. It's really hard for us to be around fake people. But I want to just invite you into another thought that maybe what you're feeling isn't fake in terms of manipulation. You know how some people can be fake and it's like manipulating, we see it on TV shows a lot. It actually could be her own form of disassociation. And disassociation is when we disconnect from connection. We leave the moment, we leave our bodies because something is overwhelming for our system or something is bringing up too much for us that we can't handle. So when someone, like a parent, hasn't done their emotional work, they may try to do the right thing or say the right thing or act supportive, but their energy tells the truth. And so you feeling something is off is genius of your body. It's something important to look into. And even if their words say, I'm proud of you, their tone or their body could be saying, I'm uncomfortable. And we register that as fakeness, and then your body knows the difference and it's picking up on something you're feeling. And that's intelligent of your body. So instead of, I don't know what your reaction is if you're calling her out or trying to get her to admit it. I don't know. It doesn't seem that way. It seems like you're just coming to the awareness of this. But I really think the work that's being done here is just about accepting what's real. Bert Hellinger, who is the father, the grandfather, I guess, of family constellation therapy, talks about acknowledging what is. And in this moment, if we were to acknowledge what is, it's about saying to yourself, my mom's trying in the only way that she knows how. I don't have to chase her support if she doesn't have the capacity to give it, but I can acknowledge that she tried. So when it feels fake, you can trust your body, but you can also trust that you can draw a boundary for how much you share if it's not feeling good because your joy isn't feeling mirrored. What's actually happening is that you're taken out of your experience and into mom's about managing what she's going to say or managing her feelings about it. And that's enmeshment and entanglement. It kind of also brings me into this thing that I talk a lot about in terms of the core values of ancestral and family healing, which is a tough one, but it's acceptance. And it's the reality that there are some family members in our lives that we have to truly accept as they are, even if we want them to be different. And again, like this can bring up grief in the form of disappointment or anger or sadness or vulnerability or frustration, or again, even wanting space from them, which isn't a bad thing. Your boundaries are a personal choice, a huge personal choice. But we can't take space and then just like not work on what it's bringing up in us. We are the only ones that we can be in control of. The rest, unfortunately, isn't in our sphere of control. So I think when it comes to acceptance, it takes an enormous amount of understanding of other people and of ourselves to get to that place. And sometimes we can tell ourselves that we accept people in our families, but then we're constantly triggered by them. And I know for me, in my experience, there's been people where I'm like, oh, yeah, yeah, like I accept who they are. I accept who they are. And then they would say something and I'd be so triggered. And it wasn't until EMDR and mushroom therapy that I did earlier in the year, which I talk about on my podcast with my therapist Jenny Gennaro. It's one of the last podcast interviews I did before we switched to the Heal with Kat show, where I had to find acceptance in my nervous system, in my body. It was about my body believing my thoughts rather than just me living in my brain. And when I finally was able to accept people for who they were, it doesn't mean that I didn't have frustration or sadness or anger. I still do. It just means that those feelings that I'm having are not taking over my entire experience. And I think it's easy to confuse understanding and acceptance. Many times we aim to understand our family members. because it helps us. It helps free us when we understand them. We don't have to go into like analysis paralysis about them, but I think understanding where our families come from and what their family stories were helps us depersonalize things a lot. But true acceptance is when we're able to have tolerance for people when they're different from us. It's not about perfection. It's about taking people for who they are and being more okay with who they are rather than getting triggered and having sometimes even these unrealistic expectations in our mind of like who they should be, even if it's our moms. So I would be remiss if I didn't touch on the mother wound with this because it's such a potent part of this conversation. So here's how we can address the core of the mother wound in this. I touched on it a little bit, but at its root, the mother wound is about the pain of not feeling fully seen or safe or supported by the one person who is supposed to nurture you, show you a safe love, and even protect you from the world with that love. It's different from the role of protection with a father, where there's more grounding of the family unit. It's like the father is the skeleton. It's the bones of the family system. It's who holds everyone together and creates the structure. The mother is the flesh. It's the emotional nurturance that happens in a family system. And I don't know if it's primal or if it's societal or what. When your mom feels jealous or competitive or emotionally unavailable, it's a wound that gets activated because we're not being met in this connection that we're wired for. Instead of being mirrored with warmth and pride, you're mirrored with discomfort or disassociation or rejection or stonewalling or distance. And then we start to believe that what is being shown to us is the way that the world works. It creates a barrier for healthy, deep, authentic connection with other people. And it can create this deep, confusing internal message that says, it's not safe to be me, or it's not safe to be seen, or I've never been seen, so I don't really know how to navigate that. And that feels uncertain and unsafe, or it's not safe to be successful, or even like my success threatens my relationships. And in terms of family constellation therapy, if you feel that way, the first thing I would look at is where are you enmeshed in an old pattern in the family system? So there's this inner split that happens. There's the part of you that wants to grow and thrive and be successful and have all of your dreams come true versus the part of you that fears being abandoned or rejected if you do. And a lot of times in ancestral family patterns, if no woman has ever made six figures and had a successful marriage and still been able to show up as a mother, like if you've got it all and you've got things that your family members have never had before, and you're feeling that it's threatening your connection with them, that's tough. And what that might do is then trigger a new pattern in the family system. If you have a mother wound and you have patterns of self-sacrificing yourself, it means that you learned that it's better to give yourself up, to give away parts of yourself, to sacrifice yourself so that you could have connection with your mother for her love and connection. And there's a deep, deep sadness in this. There is a deep sadness in breaking this cycle and experiencing transformation around this wound. Now, we don't have perfect mothers. Nope. And when I become a mother one day, I will not be perfect. The older I get, the more compassion I have for my mother, especially when she was in situations I'm blessed that I don't find myself in. And so there's the understanding and the compassion, but the acceptance is in realizing that, yes, I have self-sacrificed parts of myself, including my voice and my desires and my wants, so that I don't make someone else feel bad. Because what comes outside of the transformation, what happens as a result of the transformation is usually beauty and magic and joy and all the things that we desire. I had to do this in my EMDR and mushroom experience earlier this year, and it sucked. It was not fun facing the truth of what is. But the freedom and the liberation that I felt afterwards and the promises that I made myself afterwards were so powerful. Just thinking about it now. I was coming home from one of the EMDR experiences and I just started, voice noting a note on my phone of all of the ways that I had not even realized I could heal the mother wound in my maternal and my paternal lineages that, I mean, never occurred to me before. So deep. And instead of gaslighting myself with this new awareness and disassociating, I was fully in my power. And that came from trusting the truth inside of me. And that's the invitation that you have, Anonymous, is to trust the truth that is happening inside of you. Instead of self-sacrificing yourself, trust in your truth. Trust that you are picking up on something that could lead to you breaking a cycle, your transformation, and your liberation. So, when a mother can't celebrate her child and the child learns to self reject before others can, it's a learned pattern of behavior to survive in their environment. It's a protection mechanism. And if you resonate with that, here are a few things that might show up for you in your life. So you might be a woman who diminishes your own light and your own emotional experiences, which continues the cycle of not being seen. You might feel guilty or shame for being happy when your mom is not happy, which continues the cycle of loyalty and enmeshment, because loyalty is not love. You might hide your joy or your achievements around others, especially at work or at home, when there is actually this desire inside of you that you want to be seen and celebrated. So, this is even like disregarding your own internal needs. You might be fearing that you're too much or too visible because like I don't know, is it safe? Are people going to be happy for me? There's so much unknown around this experience, so I'm just going to reject it and hide from it instead of stand in my power and be seen. You might fear being too much or too visible, which if you've never been seen in a safe way and celebrated before, there's a big question mark of like, are people going to be happy for me? Is everyone going to be jealous of me? Are people going to be uncomfortable with my success? Which could be a whole other episode on the sister wound, by the way, and how the mother wound shows up in female friendships. That's a huge one. You might unconsciously seek relationships where you need to dim your light to stay connected. Again, the self-sacrifice. Like, for example, taking a back seat on something like a work project or a project at school when you know that you could actually take the lead for once, that you might actually have a voice and have something to say. And you just, no, I don't want people to criticize me, or I'm afraid that people won't like my idea, right? Because I want to circle back on this. The role of a mother, we talked about it a little bit earlier, is to instill confidence. That's the mother sees the child and says, your words matter, your feelings matter, and I can hold space for this and I can help you work through it, even if it doesn't make sense, right? Like we can work through this together. The last one is really interesting. It's the inability to receive, whether it's love, success, praise, validation, even money. I've done a lot of family constellations around mother wounds and money wounds. When there's a mother wound present, guilt is a really common form of manipulating connection in that mother-daughter dynamic. And so when a mother guilts their daughter, they're essentially saying, hey, in this moment, I have completely taken myself out of the role of mom. You're now my competition. You're now my friend. You're a companion. You're about to have something that I didn't have. And I don't want you to have it, or I'm uncomfortable with you having it because I really wanted it and I didn't get it. So, in essence, that means that you're doing better than me. And that's bringing up a lot of my wounds of unworthiness and inadequacy. And I'm starting to feel abandoned by you. This is a backwards dynamic with a mother and a daughter. This is parentification. This is emotional immaturity. This is narcissism. It's very common. If you are a woman who has had healthy relationships with other women and you've also struggled with a mother wound or being parentified or a narcissistic mother, please drop in the comments your experience. I want other women who haven't had that to see that those kinds of relationships and friendships do exist. I've had plenty of them. It's been very healing for my heart. It was uncomfortable, but very healing. So, Anonymous, Healing the mother wound, healing this wound with your mom, healing this sadness around her not being happy for you. It's not about blaming your mom because, from the compassionate lens, it's likely that she's stuck in an old, unprocessed childhood pattern, and you outgrowing her emotionally and even in your life really just presents an opportunity or an invitation to reparent yourself. And we hear it all the time. It's cliche. You know, we're like, oh my God, reparenting myself. I have to love myself before. It's true. It's effective. Our work is to stop expecting our mom to be what we dream her to be and accept her with love, if we can, for who she is. And then in turn, we give ourselves what we need. And maybe that's boundaries. Maybe you say, you know what, for the time being, until I can work through this, I'm not going to have a deeper relationship with my mom. I'm going to learn to celebrate my wins with people who can actually celebrate me. And if I do choose to share a win with her, it's going to be really like casual, and I'm going to work on having no expectations around it. Or maybe your boundary is, I'm not going to share any of my wins with her and just kind of keep my life pretty private. I'll call her every once in a while, catch up, but I can't bear to feel the sadness of that anymore. I will tell you, Anonymous, that this process is so effective that eventually, with enough work and enough love for yourself, you will become the woman that you always needed. And it's a breath of freaking fresh air. It will probably hit you on some random day when you're driving down the road with the windows down, listening to music, the sun is shining, life is actually really beautiful, and you realize all of a sudden that you became the woman that you always needed. Not that I'm speaking from experience or anything, but the woman you feared you'd become is a thing of the past, and you can be proud of yourself. You can let yourself be proud of things that you've done, even if she can't. You can hold your joy even if she can't hold it with you. And you can tell yourself the truth. And the truth is that for the time being, you get to mother yourself by celebrating you. You deserve that. And every time you do that, you're teaching your nervous system that you deserve joy, that you deserve success, that you deserve love, or whatever you deserve. It's safe. You can feel it and you can celebrate yourself. And maybe you even get to celebrate yourself in a group of community of people who celebrate you too. And although it will never fully fill the void that your mother left behind, it will heal you. I promise you that. The weird thing about the mother wound is that it leaves behind these crazy voids that we try to fill through drugs and sex and shopping and food and TV and scrolling and whatever it is. Whatever it is, we try to fill the wound. And healing isn't about arriving to this place where you are fully done. It's just about garnering tools so that you can respond to life differently. And you can navigate life from a place of emotional maturity and even spiritual maturity rather than repeating the cycles that your mom passed down to you. And that's how the mother wound starts to transform when you stop waiting around for your mom's permission to be fully in your power, to be fully in your body, to be fully in your voice, and for your beauty to shine inside and out. So, part of being the cycle breaker here is realizing that your growth in life, your success in life, your beauty in life, it's not a betrayal of your mom. Your success doesn't take anything away from anyone else, especially your mom. And I'm so sorry that you're feeling that you can't be fully who you are and be celebrated and loved for who you are in that relationship. The hard part with emotionally immature and narcissistic parents is that they will make what is going on with you about them. When the medicine is we need the opposite. That's really hard. That's really hard for emotionally immature parents to understand. And it might even bring up some of your unhealed parts. And luckily, that's something that is in your control. You get to keep shining. You get to keep choosing to heal. You get to keep expanding. And you can still hold compassion for her while setting boundaries. That protects your peace. even if that means celebrating on your own. Or, like I said, finding a community of people who will celebrate you genuinely and honestly. So I'll finish with this. Again, somewhat cheesy, but it's a very powerful truth. It's something that I've had to walk on my path with the mother wound, and it's something that I tell all my clients who are, a lot of them are mothers. Your accomplishments, your joy, your light, your love, they belong to you. In the treasure trove of your life, when your soul crosses over one day and you look at your life in review with your guides, you are going to look at the beauty that you brought to this planet, to this earth. These get to be yours. You're not responsible for your parents' insecurities. Your job is not to manage or fix or take responsibility for your parents' insecurities. That's their work. Your job is to focus on making your life so beautiful and so big, however big you want it to be, that you're not sacrificing yourself for others to keep others comfortable. You get to keep growing and keep thriving. And I think it's special because that gets to be a quiet rebellion. I don't know if you took my cycle breaker archetype quiz, but I'd be curious what role you play in your family system. If you're the rebel, the comedian, the hyper independent, the caretaker, or the parentified child. But all of us get to have a little rebellion when it comes to our healing journey. And this gets to be yours, is your success. Because healing your lineage, Anonymous, it doesn't mean dimming your light. It means being brave enough to let it shine, even if it makes other people uncomfortable. I think that's a gift. That makes you a cycle breaker. So I hope that meets your heart. I feel for the grief and the sadness that this might bring up for you. Please come on and call into the show if you want to keep working on this or submit another question. We can continue pulling the thread on this together. If you feel like family constellation therapy might be really beneficial for you in this time, please let me know, reach out via email. And if I'm not available, I'll connect you with my friend Julie, who does all my constellations. My calendar is a little bit limited for the rest of the year, and I'm kind of shifting more people to go see Julie while I'm not available. But that doesn't mean that in the coming, next couple of months, I might open up some time slots. But this would be a really cool thing to work on with family constellation therapy. I'd be really curious to hear more. Okay. Guys, that is it for me on this week's Heal with Kat show. Thank you to Sydney for calling in live. Thank you, Anonymous, for your very powerful submission around the mother wound. Hopefully, this lands for some of you and gives you a little bit more light in the healing journey that you're on. If you know somebody who would really resonate with this episode, please send it to them. And don't forget to rate, subscribe, and review. As always, we want to get this out into the world. We want to let other people know that there are resources of service for them at their fingertips. Like I said, for free. This is what the show is about, showing up for you in a very accessible and free way. I know the times are tough right now, and I'm just trying to do my part. So with that, thank you all. I love you, and we'll see you next week on the Heal with Kat show.